how to prepare for your job search. And these are some bullet points that I have put together. So first, you need to identify your skills and passion, and of course, the reason for identification of your skills and passion is you want to match that with your job posting. Because if a job posting is requiring for, let's say, communication skills, then you need to make sure that you are comfortable, delivering speeches, or you're comfortable talking to different type of individuals, all levels of the organization, because that's part of the job. Now, also you need to identify your network, because when you're looking for a job, let's say I'm trying to find a job at Sobis, and I have an online account at LinkedIn, and you just want to search and see who among your friends are probably working at Sobis, or in this particular organization that you're interested in with, so that you can connect and initially, do some baby steps on getting to know what the requirements of the job are, what's the environment, and how would you be closer to the recruiter. Then, of course, the goal is for you to have a job. You need to create a career story, something that you are passionate about, and you want to have that clear, and communicate that to the recruiter. And then part of that, I've mentioned cleaning up your social media account. When I am recruiting for an individual, and I have the name, I usually check their social media accounts. Why? Because I want to know more about this candidate. What would this candidate or job seeker be looking for during times when they are not working, times when they are not at work, times when it's weekend, and I just want to know more. And that's why, if you have something that will discriminate or incriminate you in your social media account, you want to clean that up and be mindful of the things that you are posting, because it creates um, an impression about you. And then the opportunities that will, of course, match your skills. Now, for every vacancy, whenever you're applying for a job, you need to customize your resume. So the resume that you have submitted 2 weeks ago for, let's say, an administrative role position will not work for this job that you are applying for, let's say, a human resources assistant. It may sound the same because it's admin work, an entry level position, but you need to customize your resume based on what is needed and what is required on the job posting. And then, how would you succeed on the phone interview and face to face interview? Of course, first, be sure that when you pick up the phone, if you get a call, you want to be in an environment that is silent, and that you are able to communicate clearly. The signal is clear, and that your voice and your mind is clear, that you're not distracted by anyone at home. Or maybe if you're outside, let's say you receive a phone call from a recruiter and you're in a grocery store, you just want to pick up the phone and say, I'm just outside, I am in a grocery store, can I phone you back? And then phone them back when you are ready, when you have a safer and quieter place to do the interview. You're not you're not required or mandated to do the phone interview while you're in a grocery store, when there are lots of other distractions there. So that's how you ensure that you are clear and that you are making a difference when you comply or when you do the phone interview. So you will increase your chance of getting the next face to face interview, because usually phone interview is the initial phase, and then once you move and pass that first phase of phone interview, you will go up and move to the face to face interview. However, now that it's COVID time, At times, recruiters would only rely heavily on the phone interviews, and they don't do face to face interviews anymore, and they will be proceeding to job offers. So in a way, it's an advantage, because you are able to trim your recruitment process, and it's shorter and it's faster for a job seeker, to be able to get the job. Now, how do you identify your resources? Of course, you look at the professional boards or associations that are helping out to recruit candidates. There are professionals like Human Resources Institute of Alberta, that's a professional board for human resources professionals. There's APEGA, that's the engineering board, that helps engineers to land a job. There's also CPA association for accountants, and there's association for nurses. So if you're in those professionals, you want to just connect with your professional boards and make sure that you are part of their distribution list when there's a vacancy. Because that's how you learn, vacancies within your field. And then, of course, you do online search. That's Indeed. You also go to LinkedIn, because there are also vacancies there. And then the biggest site would be your job bank, and that's accessible even from outside of the country. Attend job search. Job search, it's always there. There are a lot of job fairs being conducted by different organizations, and the purpose is to fast track the identification of a good candidate for the job. So if you're a job seeker, you want to attend job fairs so that you get the chance to meet the recruiters, and at times you get the chance to be interviewed, and that will definitely be a chance for you to land a job that you'd like. Now, employment services, there are several employment services available in Calgary. We have Center for Newcomers, we have Purpose Driven Human Services, we have Immigrant Services Calgary, we have CCIS, Calgary Catholic Immigration Services or Society, we have CIWA. These are the organizations that help immigrants, and not only immigrants, but also Canadians who are looking for a job. Because you may be here for a long time and you are already Canadian. However, you may probably have not found your dream job. Maybe you are working in a role because it's a survival job for you. You just want to feed your family and keep all the lights open. And there's nothing wrong with that. But of course, what is important in the end is you find the right job that will provide you fulfillment, and that will give you um, the chance to make a difference in this world. And then you have to also want to check the volunteer work, because like with Sheila is a good example here. For volunteer work, she found her job because of volunteer work. She at first she registered at CWA for volunteers opportunities, and then she get the chance to know the recruiters at CWA, and she was my volunteer at Carstar too. So that's how you not only meet the recruiters, but also increase your skills, because you get the chance to practice on the job the skills that you think you have, and you hone your skills on the job, and then you also learn a lot of things in the work environment, some ethics, some practices. There's of course there's good and bad practices, but you are exposed to both sides, and you learn how to react and to adapt to the new environment that we have here in Canada. And now that we have this new normal, this is also another challenge for all of us to learn what's the new normal. How will that new normal look like after this pandemic? Wait and see. Stay tuned. Now, for direct contact with employers, there are times if you want to fast track your job search, you use different ways and skills to find the job that you need. Yes, you have online search, you have job fairs, but you also want to visit the employers that you would like. Let's say I'm interested to work for CarStar. So I will print my resume, even if at times I don't have a vacancy. I didn't see any vacant position that is posted by CarStar. But because I really want to work for CarStar, what I will do is I will print my resume and go to one of the shops of CarStar. Of course, I will prepare myself because I may get an interview, but at the same time, I will dress it smartly and drop off my resume. But I will go and ask for the human resources and drop it off. Now, when the human resource officer or the assistant receive the resume, if they know that the candidate is just outside or waiting in the lounge area, at times if they have room, they will let that candidate in and do the initial screening. And the good thing about that is it will again fast track your chance of getting the job. So what our purpose is to for you to find the job as soon as possible, the job that you like and the job that will provide fulfillment and satisfaction. Now, there are again websites that you can visit. I think I was discussing this a while back before someone mentioned that you're not seeing my screen. So this is the sites that I would like you to check. There's Job Bank, there's LinkedIn, and there's Indeed, and then again plus the professional boards that you can also check. Now, how do you build a strong resume? Of course, when you're writing a resume, first you need to customize your resume for every job opportunity that you're applying for. Now, on the first format also would matter. When an individual is applying for a job, of course, the recruiters are reading tons of resumes in a day. They are reading over 120 to 150 resumes per day, and they may not have so much time to be able to go through the resume. So the key is a strong resume would be a simple and short resume, maximum of 2 pages. But if you can fit things in 1 page and then reserve all the other things that you would like to be on that resume, reserve that in the interview so that at least you have something to talk about. But do a comprehensive but short resume. So first, of course, we need the contact information. We want to make sure that you have your email address there and that you have a phone number that is yours, a cell number that is yours, not your child's phone number or a spouse cell number, because that is the number that will be used by the recruiter. So if that number or that cell is not with you all the time, then you may miss some opportunities there of getting an interview. And then, of course, you want to identify what your objective is. What type of job? When we say objective, we don't need a 10 paragraphs for you to identify what your objectives are. It's just the position or the role that you're looking for. And then you want to summarize your qualifications, your topmost qualifications that are related to the job posting or related to your objective. Let's say you're looking for a human resources position, then your summary of qualifications should be something along the lines of recruitment or along the lines of customer service, because when you're in human resources, you will have to deal with different types of individuals. You have to talk and communicate with different levels of individuals in the organization. So, you want to summarize those qualifications and have two or three bullet points. Like, I have a certificate in, let's say, human resources. Or if you're an engineer, you are a licensed engineer in Canada. If you're a journeyman, say that on your summary, on your first bullet point on your qualifications, you are a journeyman body technician, or you are a red seal body technician. Red seal meaning it's recognized all throughout the nation, but if it's journeyman, it's recognized within the province. Now, for employment history, at times, if you have little gaps here and there in terms of employment history, what you want to do is just put the name of the company, of course, and then the year, but you know, year from inclusive dates, meaning year when did you start working for this company, and then when did it end, and then you don't want to put the months and the specific day because there's gap, and then you explain that gap, the reasons for that gap during the interview. Now, education and training. Of course, you want to say just the education. What have you finished? Bachelor's degree, or if you have certificate on, let's say, I-card training. That's for body technicians in the collision industry. So those trainings and education should be put, but you also want to take away the dates. When did you finish this degree? Because so that the individual would not have an idea that, I mean, the recruiter would not have an idea of your age. Age is not important in the job. What is important is you are able to perform the job. It doesn't matter if you are 20 years old or you're 55 years old. That would not even matter. It's not part of the qualification. Now, designation. If you have a designation, of course, you want to identify that. And then if you have safety certificates like first aid, uh, those can be also identified. But if that will make your resume super long because you wanna put all your designations and all your certificate for safety, you wanna take that out. However, if your resume is short and you only have, let's say, three-fourths of a page, then you wanna put that in. Now, the references, yes, you'll just say references will be provided upon request. You don't want to put all the references, name and contact numbers, because you don't want them to be called every time you apply for a job. Not until you are more or less certain that you are getting the job. Usually, reference check will happen after you have passed a series of interviews and they are ready to make an offer. Now, maximum, as I've said, super max would be 3 pages, but if you can have at least 2 pages, that'll be fantastic. Please note, the recruiters are reading more or less 100 to 120 resumes per day. And they don't have time to read long resumes. So what they'll do is they'll look at the first page, and if they have found that you have 5 to 10 pages of resume, they'll move on to the next. They won't really read your resume. So, but that's not what we'd like. We want your resume to be read. So make it short and simple. Now, cover letters. The function of cover letters would be to explain if there are gaps on your resume, explain if you want to clarify your goal, your career goal, and then also you want to give a brief reason why you are looking for a job. But remember, the cover letter, please do remember that the cover letter is not there to duplicate whatever is already in your resume. because it will only enhance your resume. It won't duplicate your resume. So you want to have a short and a powerful cover letter by just explaining some of the things that you want to explain. If there's gap, you want to say that. And then, as I've said, your reason, your prime reason for job hunting. Here's the tips for in-person interview. Of course, you want to do your own research. If you are scheduled to be interviewed next week, you do your research. You want to learn as much as you can about the company. Gather the information about the interviewers. Be certain who's going to be sitting on the interview. So you can ask that when they schedule a candidate for an interview, the candidate can always ask, "Can I know who will be participating in my uh, interview?" So that you can gather those information. And then you want to rehearse and practice answers to common interview questions. And you want to do that with your friends so that they can also provide you feedback and also see if if it's clear, if the language is clear, or if your voice is clear, if your tone is okay. So that's what you want to rehearse with. Now, what are the common interview questions? Usually the common interview question is, tell us something about yourself. So be ready to have an answer there. That should not catch you in surprise, because that's very common. And then also be prepared to answer questions along the lines of leaving the job. Why did you leave this job? What why are you looking for a job? Why are you interested in this role? These are common interview questions that you should have already answered before you even go to the interview. And then plan what you wear, and you need to dress appropriately, especially in Calgary, where at times you could not predict how will the day look like. At times in one day we have three seasons. We have summer in the morning, and then towards the middle of the day we had hail, and then we had winter in the evening. So you just want to be prepared on how to dress, and you can layer and take off some of the clothes that you don't need if it becomes warm. See what are the best route to take if you're going from your place, from your home to the interview site, because you at times you also want to check if there are construction sites along the way that you want to avoid, so that you will be there on time. And practice, of course, makes it perfect. What I normally do is, if I know where I will be interviewed, I will visit that site in advance, a day or two, so that at least I know where to turn, at least I know what's the construction site that I need to avoid, you know, so that you will be there on time. Especially if your interview is scheduled, let's say 9 o'clock, you want to be there by 8:30, and then you want to get in to the building 15 minutes before the interview. Okay. Then when you're during the interview, you just need to be yourself. Speak clearly and slowly, and be honest with your responses, because you don't have to pretend when you're in an interview. They just want to know you more and see if there's a fit between your skills, your personality, you in general, and the job. Now, how do you end the interview? You want to seek positive end of the interview every time. So you want to thank the interviewers, and then you want to restate your strength and your interest on the role, and also ask questions because they would normally ask or give you the chance to ask questions. Show them that you are interested in the job. So the questions that you will be asking will be something that is related and directly connected to the job that you're looking for. Let's say you want to know what the shifts are, what's the schedule, what's the rotation for the shift, and then the size of the team. How big is the team? Are you the only HR assistant, and who do you report to? What's the structure? And then what is expected of you in terms of dress code, in terms of coming on time, what's the shop time. So those are the questions that you want to ask if you still do not know the answer by the end of the interview, so that at least you're getting more information and you can reassess later on if you are still interested on the job. Okay, is there a question? Okay, if there's no question, I'll go on. Now, tips for phone interview. Um, you will be doing, of course, your homework and do your research about the company. And also, you want to identify the best telephone number that you have. You want to also position yourself in such a way that you have strong signal, especially when you're doing the phone interview. You want to have less distractions in the environment, and then answer the phone promptly. Start with pleasant greetings. Listen attentively to the questions so that when you respond, you are actually not just saying things, but you are addressing the question and you are responding to the question. Then you want to talk slowly and speak clearly so that they can hear you on the other side and you're coming across in a courteous manner. And then after all of those interviews, of course, you will do your follow up. Uh, Now, what are those follow ups that you will do? First, when you get home, you will evaluate the interview and see what went well, what went wrong, and again, also evaluate your interest. Are you still interested on the job? When you have seen the environment, you have seen your coworkers more or less, and you created some impressions, and based also on the interview you got more information about the role. Are you still interested on the job? And if you are, you want to send an email to the interviewers thanking them and also reiterating your interest on the role. And that's how you do some follow ups. And normally, even before you close the interview, they will tell you more or less how much time they will need for them to be able to make a decision on the role, and that's what you want to follow up to. So at this point, I am ready to take some questions, and I'm opening this to all. Any questions?
Hi, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Just out of curiosity, I know that with I'm asking this on behalf for participants too. And what were the things that stood up for you during the interview? Like how do participant or like the candidates differentiate themselves from others? Like what struck you the most? Like what would impress you as an interviewer?
Well, first, I would be impressed with their energy. When I look at see when we are interviewing candidates, of course, you'll see their demeanor, their gestures, and you'll see how they speak. To me, energy is important. Enthusiasm, and then There are questions, at times, there are behavioral questions that would also touch on ethics. So that is also important to me. If I am the recruiter, that will definitely be one of those things that I will be paying attention to.
Okay, that helps. Just want to make sure because I know that some interviewers pay attention to this thing and like that thing. So, and I think it's really helpful for our, I don't know, for me as well. You know, if I go in future interviews, what the interviewers might be paying attention to besides their answers, besides their, because I know we're also paying attention to body language and, as you mentioned, energy, right? So I'm just really curious what else could be presented so that you can, you know, differentiate yourself from other participants. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Ms. Zovinita. I have a question. My name
Yeah.
is Eno. So I think this is also will be half from all the people who are attending this workshop. So as an immigrant as well, how would you elevate yourself or highlight yourself with all your skills? I mean, you think you are or you have enough skills and experience, but in terms of because you transferred from another country, how can you help yourself to become more um, how will I say how more competitive as a candidate for that certain job.
Mhm. Well, you can highlight your skills and experience by telling them your accomplishment. Not so with education, but your capabilities. What have you done? Focus more on your experience. What are the things that you have solved? Focus on value. Like, y- who is, let's say, who is Sovinita in this role? What have you, what have I accomplished, what have I changed, what have I um, put into the role that will make it unique. So when you are discussing your experience as an immigrant, you can tell them, of course you need to discuss what's the setting and the environment because they don't know that, and then you'll explain what are the things that you have done, and you also explain your accomplishments, um, specific tangible accomplishments. That's how you put value to the role and to yourself.
All right, thank you. That was good. Does
You're
anybody have any more questions?
I have a question, Mama, regarding on what you have experienced about being. Have you experienced being turned down for the job that you want? And
welcome.
yeah, was there any number of attempts in applying that job? Have you experienced that before? And have you tried and tried to pursue that job? Have you experienced that?
Yes, yes. Of course, not all jobs that you are interested in will be, in other words, that you will get, right? At times I'm interested in this role, but I was turned down. And that's okay. That's okay. Because to me, failure is just your initial step to success. So I just need to move on. And what is important is for me to understand what didn't go well during the interview. Maybe maybe the timing, maybe the way I answered one behavioral question, or maybe my eyes. Maybe I look so stern and firm, and maybe they didn't want that. Maybe I didn't smile at that time. You know how this body language would have an impact on the recruiter, or maybe they already have a candidate. They are just comparing that candidate with others, but they are already halfway on their decision making. So it's not all about me, or it's not all about the candidate, but at times it's a business decision as well, right? So failure is always there to remind us that we need to do more and we need to move on. It's there for a reason. You don't want to have pure success every time. Life would not be challenging it, and you will never learn if you always have success and you always get what you want.
All right, we have a question from Chris Song. Will the interviewer tell you right away that you didn't get the job? If not, how will the candidate know that they didn't get the job?
The interviewer normally would not immediately tell you that you didn't get a job because they are interviewing several candidates and they are doing some ranking on these candidates. So initially, they won't have the answers or the decision immediately, but for you to be able to learn what the decision was, they will call you. They will also send you letters, regret letters, if that's the case. Or at times when you do your follow ups, when you call them because you're following up after, let's say, a week or two, then you'll know what the decision was. They'll say the position is filled. We move on to, we offered the job to a candidate that is close to the skills that we need, that matches what we need.
To add on to that, is it okay to call when you call to ask for feedback on like
Yes,
okay, cool.
sorry, because that's how you learn. Because remember, if you didn't get a job, that is okay. But what is important is you learn something from that experience, and that will help you land the job in the future. So if you get some feedback, because not all interviewers would also give a feedback, but if you requested that, they will let you know why they move on to the next candidate.
Anybody have more questions for Ms. Zovinita?
Okay. Another question is there really a disqualification on a job because you are overqualified?
No, no. You disqualify yourself at times the way you answer questions. You know how at times, if you have finished PhD and then you were asked a simple question, a behavioral question, and then you respond along the lines that these are these are not part of my job because I have done several years in university, then now you are disqualifying yourself.
Oh,
You're not open to any job. Yes, you have PhD, but can you sweep the floor? If you say yes, then you got a job because that means you're not picky. So at times it's how you answer the question. Uh, it's not the numerous years in school or the degrees that you have under your belt that will disqualify you. At times, what will disqualify a candidate is their gestures and their answers to behavioral based questions. Any other question?
A quick question. It was a great presentation. My screen's a little fuzzy. Is there any way we can get the slide deck? Because there's a lot of good tips and websites.
Oh,
That be mailed out to the group.
yes, yes, that can be arranged. I know Purpose Driven Human Services has a copy of that, and they will be sharing to the
Yes,
candidates.
we can definitely send an email to everybody with the presentation that Ms. Zovinita made. We can do it within the day or two. Just wait for it. Anybody else has a question? I think that's it.
Okay, okay. Wow, great. Well, thank you for having me. I my really wish is that you all find the job that you'd like, and also the job that will provide you fulfillment and contentment in life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, good morning ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michelle Noyari, the Program and Development Director. Wow, we have gained a lot of values there. It's been an honor for us, PDHS, to be given this privilege to be able to provide a free job search skills training to you all. First of all, we would like to thank everyone for joining us today, especially to our guest speaker, Ms. Zovinita Estoconing. Thank you for sharing tips and techniques that could potentially help everyone that joined us today to land a job. The challenges we face during job search is quite daunting, overwhelming, and sometimes crippling. And for some, they struggle with the interview part. And so, just remember what Ms. Zovinita pointed out: build a strong resume and a cover letter, identify job opening resources, be prepared, do practice interview, be honest with your response, and most importantly, imagine yourself in your role you seek. And to quote Arthur Ashe, one important key to success is self-confidence. An important key to self-confidence is preparation. So be prepared and present yourself ready and be the best that you can. As Ms. Angela said, the PDHS aims to provide help to our community by providing free services like mentorship, coaching, and trainings to improve one's professional skills. Our organization also provides employment services, and we have posted on our website featured job openings with our partner companies for those who are interested. Lastly, in order for us to improve our services, we would be sending out an evaluation form to get feedback on today's training. Again, thank you for joining us. Our next available training session would be announced and posted on our website, as well as on our Facebook page. Please feel free to invite your friends and family to join us next time. We hope that we are able to help you, and we look forward to your success in your job. To Ms. Zovinita, thank you very much for being involved with our organization. We would be more than happy to have you back again in the future to do more trainings with human services. To the whole PDHS team, thank you for all the hard work to make this happen. And to end this, we bid you all goodbye and have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's it.
See you guys next time on our next workshop. Please watch out for it on our website and our social media pages.